Bon je m'appelle Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic, your new Cultaholic Heavyweight Champion once again, and welcome to all these WTF moments for Elimination Chamber 2020. And yes, the spinners are gone. We can all see clearly Tom is crying in the corner. And as for Elimination Chamber itself, yes, the show felt like it was bloody predictable. But for what it was, I had a good time watching it. It was all kinds of fun. The tag team chamber match felt like it was an episode of It's a Knockout, and that, America, is a very good thing indeed. Sami Zayn is our new Intercontinental Champion, and I'm all on board with that. Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak was just as good as it was. Really bloody scary. Fantastic match, but Bryan, I hope you're all right, son. But that women's chamber match, what a weird affair that was. On one hand, yes, it was predictable, and yes, they did the best they could do in that situation by making Shayna Baszler look like an absolute killer. But on the other hand, who the hell structured that thing and made it so boring and such a chore to get through? What a mess. And Philadelphia, wake up, man. Hit the intro. WTF! Oh, for God's sake, man. And then we have Jonathan Coachman claiming that Miz and Morrison, hey, ho, ho, don't even have to be pinned to lose their SmackDown Tag Team Championships inside the Elimination Chamber. Yes, they do, Coachman. If they don't get pinned, that means they do not get eliminated from the Elimination Chamber. The clue is in the title, and that means they retain their titles. Quite frankly, Coachman, learn your rules. You better learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep. Hang! And then Coachman's back once again, speaking about the Intercontinental Championship match, saying, and I quote, "It almost seems like everybody, it's fair." And I was thinking, Coachman, what the hell are you smoking, you crooked bastard? How on earth is a 3-on-1 handicap match, which was made a handicap match, by the way, by a ginger fella, a lovely wholesome ginger fella, but that's besides the point, scribbling on a legally binding contract fair? I mean, obviously, I'm looking at this from the perspective as a person who likes to believe that legally binding contracts are in fact legally binding contracts. But when you consider that Braun Strowman is the single biggest numpty for just going along with it, I guess it is fair, but yeah, Coachman, my point still stands. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to make it a WTF moment anyway. I do like the way in that Women's Elimination Chamber match promo package, how they had Natalya say, "I'm the best there is, I'm the best there was, I'm the best there ever will be." Like it's her bloody catchphrase, man. How rare. And then something hit me like a ton of tables with Jim Neidhart's picture on it. Ruby Riott should no longer be called Ruby Riott, should she? She should be called Emerald Riott, because she's now green and not ruby. So the first analytical point one Peter Rosenberg has on his huge return to WWE is when he asks Ruby Riott, "Hey Ruby, there's been a lot of talk about the Riott Squad facing each other inside the Elimination Chamber, but shouldn't you be more focused on Shayna Baszler?" Now I get it, Ruby is feuding with Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw, but Peter Rosenberg must be taking the piss here. But how could Ruby's attention be on anything but Shayna Baszler at this stage? Never mind the entire build to Elimination Chamber, but the promo package about the Women's Elimination Chamber match was all about Shayna Baszler as well. Pete's great, isn't he? So here we have a direct quote from the first ever 5-star wrestling champion, John Morrison, when he said, "Everyone's got friends in their life that you sometimes talk to every day. Sometimes don't. Miz and I kept in touch all these years, but when I came back, it was like we picked up right where we left off. Right to the personal shit." And after doing a quick double take and realising, no, my ears did not deceive me, I did hear S-H-I-T come out of Jomo's mouth. Jomo must have been saying, "Now listen, this ain't no make-believe," because it wasn't he actually said it. Do the slow motion thing, I'm right sexy. And then we have a direct quote from one Aleister Black, who was speaking directly to Alan James Cuthbert Styles when he said, "Tonight is a no disqualification match where there is no one to save you, not your friends." Yes, Aleister, his pals could save him if they want to. It's no disqualification, there are no rules, you tit. And then we have Big Tattoo Dally. You know that's what he'd be known as if he was in the prison, being a prisoner and whatnot. He then said, you are all alone. And for someone who has been alone and fighting alone his entire life, it's my pleasure to introduce you to how loneliness feels. And that's wrong on all levels, as we all know in terms of WWE. Being alone all his life, imagine Zelina Vega here in that backstage. Should have been going cock-a-hoop. And then he's been fighting alone apparently, as if Trevor Ricochet needs beaten down anymore. Even his old, might still be, best pal is pretending their tag team didn't even exist. Poor Trevor. Braun Strowman winning the Intercontinental Championship was 2 months ago. I mean, I guess it was January the 31st, so not really 2 months, but bloody hell, has Braun Strowman been missing in action since winning that thing or what? So then we have a direct quote from Braun Strowman, who proved, if we didn't know already, that he is a feckin' Egypt. Father Ted. Sami Zayn is a clown, Braun Strowman said, but Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, on the other hand, they are two of the best in WWE, and I was thinking, Braun, Sami's one of the best in WWE as well. He'd wrestle rings around you, man, Braun, then piss right in your eye. I'm happy you lost for more than one reason, now I am. There. To try and entice people to sign up for their WWE network ahead of a pay-per-view. Nobody really gave a toss about, did we? It's so predictable you couldn't really get excited for Elimination Chamber. But to drum up all the excitement in the world, you put on the Viking Raiders versus Heath Slater. Oh, fuck. You see, it was that exciting, I got the bloody tag team wrong. Viking Raiders versus Ryder and Hawkins. Why is that so hard to say? I cannot believe they did that. Oh, I know. I want to encourage people to go swimming. I'll stick Jaws on. That had nothing to do with anything, but you know what I'm saying. And then we have Charlie Caruso calling WrestleMania the best thing to happen in WWE all year. And I reckon, Charlie, a lot of things WWE do each and every year beg to differ. You know what? 2 cultaholic related signs as far as I could see at Elimination Chamber 2020. First of all, thank you to WrestleRant for doing that. And then second of all, what's he called again? Frank Russell calling me a wank pheasant. Do you not know the difference between a wank pheasant and a sexual wank pheasant? I mean, you might do that, you might just not like me, and that's fair enough, but still up yours! So then I'm taking issue with the opening promo package to the main show, where we heard the voiceover man say, a lifelong dream finally in reach. Speaking about, of course, WrestleMania. But then they showed pictures of The Miz, Sasha Banks, Dolph Ziggler, Alexa Bliss, and more superstars who already made their way to WrestleMania. All superstars, of course, who, if they were posed with the scenario of WrestleMania being that dream they could finally reach, would turn around and turn into Jay from the In-Betweeners and say, complete it, mate. Head things relating to Daniel Bryan. Lots of them during that opening match to Elimination Chamber 2020. And just in case you were recently born, yes, if you were born post-2016 when Daniel Bryan was forced to retire from the ring because of head-related things, concussions and that, no matter what Michael Cole says. Michael Cole, as we're stood here, I mean, as we've been stood anywhere, anytime ever, the head is different from the neck, you clown. But anyway, back to the issue at hand. What the hell was Daniel Bryan taking all of those moves to the back of his head and the back of his neck with the cherry on top of this proverbial concussion cake? Everyone's favourite kind of cake, that absolute demon of a suplex. Now you'd think that Daniel Bryan would play it safe when he's in the ring with the history that he's got, but it would appear he is that passionate to make a star of Drew Gulak, he's willing to kill himself to get Drew there. So quite frankly, more power to Daniel Bryan. He knows his body better than we do, so let him do what he wants. Still scary though. Hope you're alright, Bryan. And I know we're all panicking at this point of the match right here. It was seconds after Daniel Bryan was quite literally turned into Tomohiro Ishii after that absolute demon of a suplex. But referee, Gulak's hand is under Bryan's shoulder, so why are you counting? And then we got the moment where Daniel Bryan's dick fell out during a suplex over the top rope. And the real WTF moment here is not the fact that his lovely little man purse fell out of his shorts, because that can happen. We've seen it before, haven't we? Everyone loves a testicle. It's the fact that he's so grizzly up top, yet so seemingly baby smooth down below. And I don't know about you sat at home, but I always imagined Daniel Bryan's testicles to be very hairy, just like his head. So to see that they're not is a real shock. Now, it happened during a women's match on last week's SmackDown, but more often than not, that glitchy McGlitch face thing right there is happening when Dolph Ziggler is on the screen. I hope Letterman kills him. In kayfabe. But I do really enjoy the fact that despite the fact it's on a massive screen right there, neither Dolph nor Bobby realise that glitch is happening. Which is making me think, is it actually a real thing? Am I the only person that can see that glitch? Can you see it? Please say you can see it. Mom! Humberto Carrillo! Not my words, of course, but the words of your former Cultaholic Heavyweight Champion Tom Campbell, and, judging by that impression there, the words of William Regal after sucking in some helium. But no, that is what Jerry the King Lawler called Humberto Carrillo during that match at Elimination Chamber 2020. What is it with wrestling commentators with their names beginning with J getting names wrong, the bunch of plebs? And speaking of Jerry Lawler, he then claimed that Humberto Carrillo was getting pounded like a piñata. And I don't know about you, but I was wondering what made him say piñata.
Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank. Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
Hello and welcome back to Wankety Wank, the section of WTF Moments where you, a sexual wank faison, tweet me with something I have missed from a show, then I give you the credit just in case it's wrong so I can pass the buck. And this time we have one Flim proving Corey Graves wrong when Corey Graves claimed that Miz and Morrison were up against it heading into an Elimination Chamber match as a set of champions. 56.25% of the time, a champion walks into the chamber a champion and then walks out of that same chamber a champion. Corey Graves, the numbers do not lie, and Scott Steiner, I hope you're alright. Is that sign speaking about the fans or the wrestlers? And then we have Michael Cole saying last year's Elimination Chamber took place right in the middle of Kofi Mania. Isn't it so cool? However, man, Michael, every single person knows that chamber match in 2019 kick-started Kofi Mania. If Ali did not get injured and have to relinquish his place inside the chamber, Kofi would never have been inside that chamber and Kofi Mania would never have happened. And I've got to make it a WTF moment considering it almost never ever happens. Kofi Kingston going for a crossbody thing off the top rope and he slips and falls. He did a Lucha House Party before doing a Lucha House Party was even a thing. And just in case you're wondering, a Lucha House Party is a verb, meaning to do some silly bollocks inside the Elimination Chamber. And of course, at this time, an honorary mention for every single whoopsie the Lucha House Party did during that tag team chamber match. If I was to list them all, I would still be stood here along with the Iron Sheik at WrestleMania 37. If you know that reference, good for you. Human ankles are made of bone. Cat's ankles, if they have them, are also made of bone. Yet human cat wrestler Lince Dorado, his ankles are made of something different. He's gone to jump on the cage like a cat, but he's got caught. His arms have let go and his entire body weight has flopped down with his ankles and legs caught at jaunty angles inside the cage, and he hasn't broke his ankles or his legs. And if that's not a WTF moment, I am not a cat. Which I'm not, so it is. Is that how that works? Who knows? Shades of Alan Partridge and Dan, etc., etc. As heavy machinery, seemingly in the middle of calling a spot, just shout, Lindsay! Lindsay! Oh, Lindsay! Lots of times they said that. Lindsay didn't do anything for ages. This was setting up that shooting star press thing off the top of the cage. But the fact they were stood there going, oh, Lindsay! Time to do the thing. It was funny, wasn't it? Aye. And speaking of that death-defying, 9 lives wiping, shooting star press hanging thing off the top of the cage from Lince Dorado, it was amazing. But it was not the WTF moment to do with that thing. So we see Lince Dorado risk life and paw by doing that hanging shooting star press. And Otis Dozovich, I love that man. How does he sell that thing? He sells it like he's had 20 full pints of lager and he's been shoulder parched by a big old man at the bar. This is what he did. Whoops. All that effort, and Otis pissed right in its face. It was fantastic. I laughed. I don't know about you. It was great, wasn't it? Now, if you watch our live reactions for Elimination Chamber 2020, and indeed, if it makes the cut, it might not make the cut. That's the game we play here at Cultaholic. Things sometimes don't make the cut, and it hurts me every time. But I'm not happy with my pal Otis, because that man has been waiting to get his hands on Dolph Ziggler since Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day was a long time ago. And finally, after the best catch since Paul Collingwood in the Ashes series at 2005, he flew right above his head. When Otis caught Dolph Ziggler, finally the moment was here for Otis to rip him limb from limb. But what did Otis do? Draped him over the top rope and let him lie on the floor. Just so Tucky could provide us with another WTF moment with that thing off the top rope as he flew like a fridge being dropped out of a second floor window. But Otis, Dolph Ziggler, remember, stole Mandy. You really like Mandy. She made you grease your hair down in front of your face for a couple of weeks. You were really sad. You had the chance to wipe Dolph Ziggler off the face of the planet, and you draped him over the top rope and left him, and then barraged your way through the chamber pod and the chamber itself thing. Silly man, I wasn't happy with that. In a decade and a half of Elimination Chamber matches, I've never seen that, said Michael Cole really calmly. And Michael Cole said that when he saw a wrestler go through Elimination Chamber pod door, something he has seen loads of times. Loads. Maybe not to the floor, but through the thing. The concept of it, he's seen it lots of times, hasn't he? Yes, he has. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, why the piss in hell did you take so long to get involved in that no disqualification match? You know fine well, there are no rules. The ring announcer even said, there are no rules. There wasn't any rules. So you stood at ringside and attacked Aleister Black behind the referee's back before eventually you thought, oh, it's no DQ this, we can just hop in the ring and make it 3-on-1. You could have done that from the very start and had that match over with inside 5 minutes, maybe even 4. In fact, you could have had that match over quicker than a Tom Campbell Cultaholic Heavyweight Championship reign. But the question remains, lads, what the hell were you doing? We've all been there, haven't we? You see a bald head, you want to play it like a bongo. Even when the baldy scalp in question belongs to your lifelong tag team partner, Luke Gallows, what the hell were you doing? And then we have Tom Phillips doing what he does best, and that is face fornicating the poo out of a line on commentary. That is a reference to a direct message he sent a very long time ago, and something I should probably let go of. Aleister Black has beaten AJ Styles. If you pick a fight with Aleister Black, you will fade to black. Oh, The Undertaker showed up. The Undertaker goozled those baldy good brothers. He sort of chokeslammed. What's wrong with your chokeslams, Taker? That's 2 buggered up ones in a row. He chokeslammed AJ Styles, and that allowed Aleister Black to kick AJ Styles right in the face and get the win. That kick was never ever going to happen unless, of course, The Undertaker got involved. I mean, of course, the record books will show Aleister Black won that match, but he didn't win that match, did he? Undertaker did. Semantics, I don't know what I'm saying here, you know what I'm saying though. So then we have Terry Ford being big old Terry Ford by having a hoot during that tag team match. He's having a great time, and we're laughing at him having that great time. But then we have Tom Phillips saying that Terry, Big Tez Ford, just in case you didn't realise who Terry actually is, Tez is Terry in England. He said Terry is having a lot of fun, and then Jerry Lawler replied to that, it's not supposed to be fun. To which Tom Phillips then replied, how, Lawler? Really? WWE isn't supposed to be fun? And I'm sorry, Tom, but in that moment, you forgot what you were commentating on. In your kayfabe role, of course, as lead commentator on a professional wrestling show, you're not commentating on sports entertainment, are you? You're commentating on a fight. In the kayfabe, aren't you? Aye. When Lawler said, no, it's not fun, you're defending your championship, it's business, I fully agreed with Jerry Lawler right there. I agree with Jerry Lawler. That's weird. Shades of MJF, as it turns out, Montez Ford is a big, dirty, ring-wearing heel. Kind of. Look at that, man! His ring is exposed. His wedding ring. And I don't want to turn into Dion Dublin from Homes Under the Hammer as we look at the stairs that lead up to the bedrooms. That's a reference very few people will get. But there we see The Undertaker and all the Fiend's living room, complete with small flat screen television and cables. How luxurious. But when Sami Zayn went under that ring, I could not help but remember that time where the Fiend went under there, and I can't remember who was chasing him because all this wrestling, it blurs into one the amount I watch. But whoever was chasing the Fiend back under the ring could not get back under the ring because it was some sort of weird vortex. And there we see in the living room right there. Weird, isn't it? Michael Cole's disgust for Sami Zayn is misplaced. Sami Zayn, of course, has mystical powers that makes legally binding contracts no longer legally binding because he doodles on them and things change for some reason. I'm taking issue, of course, with Michael Cole immediately after Sami Zayn won the Intercontinental Championship. What a weird sentence that is, by the way. How long has that been in the making? He was like, Sami's earned the Intercontinental Championship? Earned? He's earned nothing. And I'm sat there thinking, Michael, you knobhead. I think that all the time, but that's besides the point. Of course he's earned it. He's broke no rules. He has worked smarter than working harder, which is something everybody in the world at any time, any year, any place should be doing. That contract was legally binding, of course, Michael Cole, even though it shouldn't have been. So you moaning at Sami cheating for taking Braun Strowman's championship when Braun agreed to this stipulation that should never have been a stipulation. That's the WTF moment there. You shouldn't be having a go at Sami. You should be having a go at Braun for being so bloody stupid. I don't know where that accent came from. But we've got to make Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental Championship a WTF moment. I did a Google, and 1,770 days after his main roster debut with Bret Hart and John Cena and all of that malarkey, he has finally won a main roster title. And halapissin Konnichiwa, said Jerry the King Lawler to Asuka. And I don't know about you, but I was wondering, what the hell's the Japanese for piss off Jerry Lawler?
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
So Byron Saxton reckons Liv Morgan is now comfortable. She knows who she is. And I was thinking, the way Liv Morgan returned to the ring and the storyline that was involved in, and the way it looked like that storyline was going with Lana. Yes, you remember that? Before the entire world crapped on the thing. And the way it's gone since, I don't think she does know who she is. Do you know who she is? I don't know who she is. She seems nice though. But who is she? Direct quote from Tom Phillips this time when he says, as a former mixed martial artist, this is relatively friendly confines for Shayna Baszler. In what way does the stuff Shayna Baszler did in there translate to the stuff she'll have to do in there? Oh, I know, Tom. I have been inside of a pub. I have done pubbish things inside of a pub. I've never been to a Buddhist temple, but since that's a building and a pub's a building, if I behaved the way I would do inside of a pub, inside of a Buddhist temple, I'd be at home there. That's what you're saying there, in a roundabout way. And now we have a dramatic reenactment of a conversation between Natalya and Liv Morgan inside the Elimination Chamber. And I've got to be honest with you, I saw this doing the rounds on Twitter yesterday, and I thought somebody had taken a soundbite or two from the porn and put it in Liv Morgan's place. But it turns out it was really real. You like that, Liv? Oh, yeah. You like that, yeah? Oh, fuck! Amazing. WWE superstar watching television like a human being would if a comfortable chair wasn't available when they wanted to watch the television. We dared. The end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh. And as for Becky Lynch stood there, backstage once again, I'm asking Becky, why don't you go out and confront Shayna Baszler and do what you've been saying for so long now? I cannot wrap my head around WWE turning this woman into an unbearable liar, but that's exactly what they're doing. Why she stood there when she could go out and do what she's been... I give up. And a can of Coke, maybe 2, maybe even 3 full cans of Coke to Liv Morgan for everything she went through in the seconds before that camera shot there. She made Shayna Baszler, never mind looking like a killer, she made Shayna Baszler look like a relic. Killer spelled backwards, not the old.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
Then we have Byron Saxton claiming that Asuka is a woman who went 914 days undefeated, and Byron Saxton, as that image clearly displays there, never ever besmirch Eva Marie like that ever again, or I'll knock you. And we end with Tom Phillips doing what he does best, of course, and that's saying words. He reckons Shayna Baszler has gnawed her way towards WrestleMania by winning the Elimination Chamber match where she didn't even come close to biting anybody. Shove your teeth up your arse, Tom Phillips. I'll see you soon.